So MMOs are like easily one of my favorite kinds of games. Having a living, breathing world with all kinds of people just leads to so many unique interactions and personal stories. But lately, there's been some very civilized discussion about MMOs being in a bit of a rough spot. So since I've clocked in like a handful of hours across a few different MMOs, I figured why not sit down and try and take a more optimistic but educated look as to what's really going on here. In the early days of the internet, the MMORPG was basically the only game you ever needed to play. From social circles to self-expression to intense gameplay and relaxing gameplay and going freaky style. You never really had to leave. But over time, the internet developed. What was once a World of Warcraft guild chat became a Discord server. Nights that used to be spent raiding are now girls' night, where we play some friend swap, and sometimes one of the girly pups has to sit out because the game's full. The MMO genre was kind of stripped for parts like a used car, which has kind of left the genre in a bit of a weird spot. If you look at the graph, it's obviously been going down since like 2010. But does that like really matter? My personal enjoyment from MMOs doesn't really follow the trends of this graph at all. I think at its core, there's one key thing that people are craving, and I think the solution lies in finding it. In finding what I call the feeling. But hold on a sec, folks. It's time for Pint to pay her rent. Holy chungus, it's War Thunder, the most comprehensive vehicle combat game ever, and entirely free on PC, consoles, and mobile. With an unmatched wealth of high-quality content, there's simply no better game suited for fans of military history. And with over 95 million players, I'm sure you'll be able to find a friend or two. Or you could shoot them with a gun. And probably my favorite feature is that War Thunder doesn't have basic health bars. Each vehicle is intricately modeled with components that are susceptible to damage from enemy fire. Speaking of vehicles, we got over 2,500 of them. I'm talking tanks, planes, helicopters, ships from 10 major nations with a huge range of time periods to choose from. So you can play as a biplane from the 1920s fighting a modern military fighter jet. And with graphics and sounds this immersive, you'll feel like you've actually been handed the keys to a powerful war machine without needing, a license and safety training. So do yourself a favor and join the fray that only War Thunder can offer. New and returning players who haven't played in the past 6 months can sign up with my links in the pinned comment and description, and you'll get multiple premium vehicles, 100k silver, and an exclusive vehicle customization. But don't dally, this offer is only available for a limited time for PC and console users. Ad over. What feeling, you ask? Let's cast our minds back a decade or two. You just got home from school and you head over to the family PC. It's Friday night, and ahead of you is a whole weekend of helping a 37-year-old woman process her divorce. You log on, and you're on the coast of Dark Shore, staring into an endless mass of trees. You're paralyzed on the shore, index finger quaking as it hovers over the W key. Today, you discover what lies within. That is the feeling I'm talking about, baby. The adventure, what the French call le unknown. And I know this goes against the popular understanding, but I don't think I enjoyed this just because I was a kid. My actual belief, and hopefully the point of this video, is that that feeling is a lot more abundant than people would believe. So, to understand why, let's take a look at a time when that feeling was nowhere to be seen. In 2021, I was playing some frickin' World of Warcraft, and a tree caught my eye. A tree that I've seen countless times and thought nothing of. But today, it was pissing me off. I knew every sickening detail about this thing. Like, I could perfectly envision exactly how my character would slide across it if I jumped into it. I knew I could attack through it without breaking line of sight. I could even picture the way it looked from the inside. Just empty. Whatever value it once offered had long since been consumed. Now all that remained was this taunting effigy of textures and pixels built to resemble a tree. And that's when I first thought, I don't think I'll ever feel that feeling ever again. I finished the movie. I ate the meal. I stroked my shit and shot hot ropes. Here I was, trying to gnaw at the plate for another crumb. I'd staked my whole self-worth on the esteem of my virtual character. Because after all, that's what I wanted, right? Back in Darkshore, to become stronger bit by bit, to become more knowledgeable. But it was clear now that somewhere along the way, the journey had ended without me noticing, and I was just sitting at the destination wondering why the car had stopped. Ah, shucks. Well, maybe it could all still turn around. I heard the new expansion's coming out next week and it might be good.
It's fucking shit,
said the fuck you guy.
And so during Shadowlands, I and many other players walked away from World of Warcraft. And as a result, many wayward souls were cast adrift with nowhere to call home. This was a time of discord, anger, and strife. Because as we all know, MMO players do not express their discontent quietly. And bereft of hope, people were searching for anything to fill the void in their hearts. But amidst the chaos just up ahead was an emerging competitor. And with nothing left to lose, I figured, why not finally give a new fantasy a try? And so that's when I began playing Minecraft for like 2 weeks, and then I started playing Final Fantasy XIV. By all accounts, I thought I'd fucking hate this game. There was so many teensy little things that rubbed me the wrong way. Cause in my fantasy game, the weird little dead eyes on these fucking toddlers? Like, what? Am I gonna play a fucking toddler? That's stupid. And as a stereotypical Gen Z queen who only knows how to eat hot chip and lie, you're asking me to read? Like how people used to do with the Bible? But much to my surprise, these things grew on me. The story was good enough to where I didn't mind reading. Sure, this thing looked weird, but had I considered the funny? I was charmed by things I wasn't expecting, even though I still fucking hate the cars. I met new people here. I found new friends. And as we played together day after day, I realized that feeling World of Warcraft had offered me in the past, it was here too, to be felt again. This is it, I thought. I finally found the right MMO this time, and it's gonna stay this way forever. But what many of my trillion billion adoring fans didn't know about this period of time is that my life was pretty sad chungus. A little something had forced us all indoors, and little did I know, I'd just entered a pretty shit living situation. I was living in a city hours away from anyone I knew. I'd developed a fear of leaving my apartment, and as a result, I did not meaningfully interact with a single human being for over a year. It was a pretty dark time, but as bad as it got, here inside my little computer, there was some light. I could talk to friends. I could contribute to the world with my videos. And every day enamored with that unforgettable story and all of its iconic moments.
It's over, Endbingus! This is your final fantasy!
I just wanted to play on the playground.
Oh my god, this game is so fucking peak. Eventually though, I was able to move. My mum came and drove me home to a nicer apartment, somewhere I could see trees again. After I finished the main story, I did something many MMO players dare not do. I went outside. I attended a symphony of Final Fantasy's greatest songs. Sat in the audience of a room full of people equally as passionate as I. And as I listened to Amanda motherfucking Aiken sing with her enchanting soprano tones, I shed a tear. It felt like the credits were rolling. That both the story I'd engrossed myself in and my personal journey against being fucking agoraphobic, this was the bookend. And so I continued to play. To enjoy and savor the experience bit by bit until... Look at me. I have played 1,000 hours. I've caught up on the story. I've done all the raids I wanted to do. I've made all the glamours for all my jobs. I've played new jobs. And yes, I've even welcomed new players to pick up the game and give it a try. Now I sit here, watching the game I love slip through my fingers the same way it did before. How do I stem the tide of this dying light? Is this all that these games are fated to be? How do I make MMOs fun again? And there I was, on the very cusp of despair, until I saw him.
You should really take a break and come back to it later. Maybe if you took a break, you'd have more fun.
Such ageless wisdom contained within a JPEG. His oh-so-friendly smile pulling me from the dark. Maybe all along, what mattered wasn't the state of MMOs, or whether to quit, or the lost joy of youth. Perhaps it's nothing more than our turbulent minds trying to make complexity out of a simple question. The question was never, are MMOs dying? The real question to ask is, are you having fun? About 12 months ago, I was getting pretty fed up with the amount of slop I was consuming on a daily basis, so I decided to make the active, conscious choice to just play more games, because we've reached the point where my attention span is so fried that watching a full movie makes me feel like a Greek scholar. Now, don't get me wrong, not every new game I played was a positive, transcendent experience, but I'd noticed that when I really set aside time to just play, and I'm talking sandpit and Barbie dolls here, I found that if I was willing to look for it, I could find that feeling again and again and again and again. And maybe it was harder to find things that really spoke to me in the way that Final Fantasy XIV's story did, but some things got pretty close. There's an infinite amount of people out there trying to make something great. They've been doing it long before I was born, and they'll keep doing it 14 billion years into the future. There's always gonna be a world of outer fantasy for you to experience. And then one day, I logged back into World of Warcraft, and I was stood in front of that tree. It wasn't malevolent, it was just part of the Elwyn Forest. And I had some kobolds to go kill. And then the same thing happened with Final Fantasy. Recently, I've been having some of the most fun I've ever had. But what I've learned is that you can't force it. You either have to go away and hope it returns to you naturally, or maybe you have to accept that sometimes things change. I don't think MMOs are dying, but I do think that, like many of us, they've changed with the times. They aren't designed to be forever games anymore. You're meant to play them seasonally. They're designed to be friend slop. And I know that's not to everyone's tastes, but I'm actually pretty okay with it. I like the variety. I like going away for a few months and then returning home to a central place that I know. Because no matter what you do, one day the servers are gonna shut down and all that's gonna matter is how much fun you had. Inevitably, I'll probably become disillusioned with the game again, but I just hope that next time I don't miss the forest for the trees. It's a new year, so go play some games, go make some things, and remember, the only thing you should want is to play on the playground. Hello, my little kittens. Thanks again to War Thunder. You can use my links below to get your rewards, including 100k silver, some premium vehicles, and an exclusive vehicle customization. It's free on PC, consoles, and mobile, so why not give it a try? Anyway, yay, I love Patreons! I'm trying to be less fully dependent on sponsors, so your guys' help really does go a long way. It allows me to keep making videos full time, and I'm still working on the voice. Anyway, more Final Fantasy content soon.